Hamilton is stronger wheel to wheel, and the car far surpasses the field. We all know the strength of Mercedes' car, that's for sure.
All right, one black man make it, we all made it, baby. We coming out the hood now. We done made it. Nigga, we made it.
Hey guys, I'm Andre Harrison, and Natalie Sawyer is my bae. Welcome to another Top Gear episode review, and this is for Season 22, Episode 6, this past week on Sunday. Sorry it took so long to get this review out. Unfortunately, obviously the two breaking news stories of Monday and Tuesday kind of, well, maybe not so much Monday. I don't think the helmet change ban was breaking news or anything, but the news of Alonso kind of put my schedule back a little bit, and I wanted to get a video out to talk about that quickly. So I kind of changed plans and did a little bait and switch at the last minute. Sorry about that. Maybe you guys don't mind. But yeah, talking about Top Gear episode 6, and to be honest, there's not an awful lot to talk about because it was kind of just basically three big elements of the episode this time around. So I won't have much to talk about in this one, really. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. I do talk a lot. So the episode kicked off with the review of the new Lexus RCF, which was kind of meant to be a BMW M4 kind of contender, and Merc C63 kind of contender from Lexus. And I think there was a lot of hype going in about this because of how well they did with the LFA. Remember that, it becomes important later. But essentially, it was a review of the Lexus RCF, and, you know, Clarkson was doing his thing like he normally does, Top Gear usual drag race, and he basically highlighted that it wasn't a very good car at all. It was a well-shot review, you know, it's kind of standard Jeremy Clarkson on a track, you kind of know what you're going to get. What dragged this review down for me more than anything else was that they went back to the Lexus LFA again, and I'm like, seriously? They're doing this again? Where they have to compare every Lexus that came out to a car which Clarkson quite rightly said during the American triple review race towards the Mexican border towards the end as well, where he says the LFA is one of the best cars he's ever driven. And seriously, don't you think it's a little bit of an unfair comparison to compare that Lexus to a full-on 600 horsepower supercar version of a car which you thought was one of the best of its kind ever made? I think that's a little bit unfair, and it was a distraction more than anything else. I didn't like... Again, I see why they did it. I mean, they wanted to show that Lexus are capable of so much better. But the LFA is kind of a freak car. It took them 9 years to develop. Lexus took a loss on everyone they ever sold just to prove it could be done as a technical exercise. And it's blatantly much different from this RCF. So I felt like it was kind of an unfair comparison, and it dragged the review down, and it made it go on maybe 4 or 5 minutes too long. And I didn't really like the direction that review took more than anything else. Also, they had Gillian Anderson as a star in a reasonably priced car. You may remember her from back in the days of the X-Files, if you're my kind of age. And God, she's still so pretty. Yeah, she's still, like, really attractive now, even though, like, the X-Files was, like, 15 years ago for me. Probably a little bit more than that, actually. Like, which guy now didn't have a thing for Gillian Anderson when they were growing up watching the X-Files? Still looked really nice. It was a good interview. I enjoyed it. It was a good laugh. Set a surprisingly fast time as well. So that was kind of cool. But the bulk of the episode, I think about 35-40 minutes of the review, or the show I should say, was the segment where basically they were testing how these old distress signal watches work, where they pull the watch out and they have a signal which goes out for 24 hours and then someone will come out and rescue you. That concept. So they stuck Hammond in the middle of the Rockies in Canada, and basically the challenge was to get Jeremy and James to come and rescue them in pickup trucks. So, you know, the main joke of the episode was basically them taking their damn ass time to get over to the Rockies to save Hammond. Apparently it took them 4 days. I don't believe it for a second, because it's very easy to shoot that kind of thing and make it look like it took them 4 days. So I already had questions regarding the legitimacy of this, and we all know that Top Gear is staged to a degree. The level of degree depends on the segment. Did Hammond really spend 4 days in the Rockies struggling in terms of conditions? I doubt it. Like, Hammond is probably insured for a lot of money, and I'm sure even if he was out there for 4 days, I'm guessing he was very well taken care of. You know, like, shit, you're gonna just dump him there and have the camera crew just pointing cameras in him all day? I mean, really? I doubt it. So, I already have questions regarding the legitimacy of the actual segment itself. But the focus was on the two pickup trucks that Hammond and the Clarkson and May were using to pick them up. James had the Chevrolet Silverado, and Jeremy had the highest selling car in the world today, the Ford F-150, which is actually upgraded by Hennessy, the same guys who make the Hennessy Venom GT, you know, one of the most powerful and fastest cars ever made. So his Ford had something like 600 horsepower in it, and I have no idea why you'd ever want to put 600 horsepower in a Ford 150. I really don't understand that. But, you know, apparently that's an American thing. You know, power, which I guess fit Clarkson down to the bone. So they were driving 400 miles after they flew to Vancouver, and then, you know, drove 400 miles to get up the mountain to basically get Hammond in the end. And I liked the idea they had towards the end, where basically they had a race to get up the mountain to rescue him, because you know, James had the quite slow and steady approach, while Jeremy was all about the power. They were taking different routes, and the prize was, if you got there first, you had to basically, you didn't have to rescue him. So, imagine having 15 hours of a grumpy Hammond back in your car. I thought that was actually quite a funny thing. So I actually quite liked that bit. And Hammond on his own was quite funny. I must admit, like, just him randomly shouting out and being angry was quite funny now and again, I must admit. But overall, it just seemed like general Top Gear cocking about, to be honest. And, you know, you've seen these kind of delaying jokes like 100 times before on Top Gear, and you kind of know what to expect. You know, if Jeremy and James May was trying to rescue you, they probably would dick around an awful lot trying to get it done more than anything else. So, yeah, I can't say I'm too surprised at that more than anything else, but overall, I thought it was a decent challenge. I mean, I thought it was mildly entertaining. I don't think it was anything particularly outstanding about it, or anything particularly bad. I just thought it was just kind of a, you know, middle-of-the-road kind of Top Gear challenge, and that kind of sums up my thoughts on the entire episode, really. It was just a middle-of-the-road episode. Like, last week when I was talking about the LaFerrari and whatnot, there was some genuinely really good parts of that episode which I thought was going to bump the rating up a little bit, and despite the Peugeot segment I didn't really like, I still thought it was a 6 or a 7 out of 10 episode. This was just mediocre to a T, you know, and it didn't really kick out of second gear, ironically enough. So I'm going to give this episode a 5 out of 10. There was nothing great about this episode at all, but there was nothing particularly bad about it either, so I just thought, you know what? It's an average episode of Top Gear, so it's just going to be the middle-of-the-road score of a 5, more than anything else. I'd love to hear what you guys thought of the episode. Please comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts as always. This is going to be a full-time series on this channel. Thanks to everybody for the amazing response to last week's episode, which got over 1,000 views. I was very happy with that, so thank you all very much for that. But in the meantime, I've been Harrison, and I want to thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Sayonara.